Hey everyone, it's Wasim here from the channel Hunter and Smiles. Thank you for joining me on another video. Today we'll be discussing three brilliant classic female fragrances that work really well for a man. Of course, works really well for women as well. These three fragrances are budget fragrances as well, and you can pick them up very cheaply and they're incredibly affordable. The three fragrances we'll be discussing today are Tabu from the house of Dana. We'll also talk about Femme from the house of Rochas, and we'll finish off the video talking about Cabochard from the house of Grès. So let's discuss Femme from the house of Rochas first. So this bottle I picked up on eBay. This is the vintage formulation. For £30 I was bidding someone and I was quite lucky to pick this up for that price. So this is the vintage formulation, but you'll be able to buy a new formulation, brand new, for around the same price. I think I've seen them going for around £30 to £35, sometimes £40, depending on where you look, for a 100ml bottle, I believe. So this one is a 50ml, so very affordable. This one was initially launched in 1944, and the perfumer behind this is Edmond Roudnitska, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. And Edmond Roudnitska was also the perfumer behind the classic masculine fragrance released in 1966 called Eau Savuage from the house of Christian Dior. Femme by Rochas is classified as a fruity chypre, and the main notes you're going to get on my skin and how this fragrance smells. I've got the dry down on my skin here. The overall summary of this fragrance is that it smells like warm spices, warm, slightly dirty spices, which is backed by this dark, smooth, sweet, fruity accords and a gentle bit of oakmoss. The warm spiciness and slightly dirty spiciness that I pick up from this is mainly the note of clove with some warm cinnamon as well. And the fruity accord in this is coming from two brilliantly gorgeous fruits of plum and peach. The plum especially gives this like a dark fruity accord, and it also has a lot of oakmoss as well, which gives off the backing of this scent. This fragrance for me is a beautiful, classy, elegant sort of scent, which I believe works really well formally. Wearing this, I feel very gentlemanly, even though it's a fragrance which is called Femme. It's very unisex in my opinion. It works really well on both men and women. On a woman, I gives off the image that she's wearing a beautiful like black dress and she's gone out on a formal event. And for a man, it feels very elegant and masculine. Even though it's an elegant scent, it has a rawness and strongness to it as well, which is why it doesn't become too feminine, and it's more unisex. So both men and women can wear this. This is an outstanding Chypre fragrance that you should consider. On me, performance wise, this is excellent as well. It lasts on my skin around 10 hours with strong projection and sillage. People are going to notice you wearing this one. I think in terms of seasons, this is best suited to cooler weather, so the autumn, fall, or the winter, and best suited as a nighttime scent. And I would, most of the time, I would wear this as a formal scent when you're dressed your best, but it can also work as a night out scent when you're dressed quite well. I think casually, this would be a waste. It's best suited when you're dressed and looking the part. So the first female fragrance we spoke about today that works well for men is Femme by Rochas. Again, very affordable. I think you can pick up a bottle for around £30. The second fragrance we'll talk about today is Tabu from the house of Dana. So this was released all the way back in 1932 or 1933, if I can remember correctly. And the perfumer behind this is John Charles or John Charles. I'm not 100% sure how that's pronounced. He was a French perfumer, and the house Dana asked him to create a fragrance. As far as what I can tell, I'm not sure if it's a myth or not, but they asked him to create a fragrance that a prostitute would wear. So very interesting. Maybe that's where the name Tabu comes from. This is a beautiful oriental ambery fragrance. On my skin, I've got the dry down sprayed here. On my skin, this gives off like this warm, ambery, slightly smoky vanillic tone with some warm spices and a gentle animalic muskiness. The main notes of my skin are the amber and the benzoin, which give off this warm, sweet, vanillic sort of tone. And the spices for me are the cinnamon and the clove. And the muskiness that I get on my skin is coming from the note of the civet. This is an incredibly powerful perfume. This is an eau de cologne concentration. I forgot to mention, this is Femme Rochas was eau de toilette. This is eau de cologne, but don't let eau de cologne make you think this is a weak performing fragrance. This is one of the strongest performing fragrances in my collection. This lasts around 10 to 12 hours with very strong projection. You do not want to overspray this one because it can become overbearing and quite cloying. This is best suited when you spray quite lightly on your skin. The projection performance will be excellent, so spraying lightly, it works really well. I think this is best suited as a nighttime scent during the autumn, fall and winter, and I think this works really well as like a casual night out sort of fragrance. Again, this is suited to both men and women, and I'll pick this bottle up for £12 on eBay, brand new, and this is a 68 milliliter bottle. Whilst I was researching this video, I tried to have a Google to see if I could see if anyone was selling this, and it's becoming quite hard to find. I picked this up a couple of years ago and there was plenty of stock online on eBay and other various websites, but some fragrance companies like great dealers are now selling this for nearly £100, which I think is a little bit too much. So I'm not sure if this has been discontinued or not, but if you search around, hopefully you'll be able to find it for a decent price like myself. £12, I picked this up, absolute classic. So that's Dana from the house this is Tabu from the house of Dana. We'll finish off this fragrance video talking about Cabochard from the house of Grès. So this fragrance originally was released in 1959, and the perfumer behind this is Bernard Chant, I believe, if I remember correctly. And Bernard Chant, he is also behind the classic masculine fragrance called Aramis, which was released much later in 1966. So this came earlier, and like Aramis, this has a lot of similarities. Before I talk about the similarities between this and Aramis, I just want to mention that this particular bottle is a reimagined or re-release of the classic Cabochard from 1959. This one was released in 2019. And I believe this was re-released because of the note of oakmoss. IFRA, the body behind perfumery, banned the use of oakmoss or severely limited it, which affected the formulation of this, which is why it was re-released and reimagined in 2019. But from reading the comments and the news, Fragrantica and base notes, many people consider this a fantastic reformulation, and they say it smells very similar to the vintage bottle, which is excellent. So to go back, the comparisons to Aramis, I believe Aramis and this have a lot of similarities, but this is a lot more, in my skin, a lot more elegant, more refined. It has a little bit of more of a lighter touch, which leans this more in the unisex territory, whereas Aramis is out and out rugged masculine manliness. This one is a lot more refined and it has a touch of classiness and elegance, which is slightly lacking in Aramis, even though that's a very classy fragrance as well. That's a lot more stronger. This one is a little bit more elegant, which is why it leans a little bit more on the masculine side rather than the feminine side. So how does Cabochard smell? On my skin, when I first spray this on, it has a beautiful blast of aldehydes, which is quickly joined by some floral notes. On my skin, the main floral note is the jasmine. The jasmine and the aldehydes really gives this, to me, in the initial stages, a smell of like a classic Chanel fragrance. Chanel is known for using the aldehydes and especially the note of jasmine. As the fragrance dries down, it really changes on my skin and becomes this green, woodsy, slightly mossy sort of scent. And the oak moss accord that they used in this is probably the best of any modern perfume I've tried. This fragrance is extremely classy. I've got it on my skin. When I wear this, it gives off like a sophistication, a classy, gentlemanly sort of scent. This is marketed towards women. It's an eau de parfum concentration, but any man who has a touch of class and sophistication can pull this off quite easily. This fragrance, I think, is best suited for me in the daytime. And I think it works really well as a work scent or as a formal scent. When you go into work and you're wearing a nice shirt, I think this works perfectly for that. I don't think this works as well as a casual fragrance. If you're wearing a t-shirt and jeans, I don't think it works as well as when you're wearing a shirt. I think this is best suited, like I said, as a daytime scent, specifically in the spring and fall and potentially in the winter as well. I don't think, because of the dry down, the green, mossy leatheriness and woodiness that you get in the dry down, that this would work in the really hot days of summer. In terms of performance, I get around 8 hours on my skin with decent projection. It's not going to scream off your skin. This is much more, I wouldn't say it's an intimate scent either. People will notice you if they come closer to you, but it doesn't scream out. And I think this is a perfect type of performance for this type of scent. It's classy and elegant. You're not a shouty gentleman out there. You can pick this up for £15 brand new as well. So online if you do shop around. So again, extremely budget friendly. So there you have it, guys. These are 3 fragrances. We spoke about Cabochard from the house of Grès, Tabu from the house of Dana, and Femme from the house of Rochas. So all very classic fragrances. This was released in 1944. Cabochard original formulation in 1959, and Dana's Tabu was released in 1932. So old classic fragrances which still work for me in modern times, marketed towards women, released for women, but I think now in 2024 these are leaning a lot more unisex and any gentleman can pull them off. Let me know if you've tried any of these fragrances or are interested in any of these fragrances. I love reading your comments. If you've enjoyed this video, please do leave me a like and a comment below, and please do subscribe to the channel if you want to see any more content like this. So until next time, my friends, see you later.